Hiya, another video. Finally get to do what I wanted to do when I first did the Brahma 6. This whole journey started a long time ago, and when I first did the Brahma 6, which my camera's sitting on, this little baby, which is selling really well. I'm really pleased. It's beyond my. I didn't expect it to sell that well. Obviously, they also sell an awful lot of cameras. So this is. I've been very impressed. Let me just shoot up the screen. Hang on. Yeah, I'm very pleased and very grateful for all the people who've purchased these. Hope you're having fun. I'm seeing lots of interesting results. Great fun to see them all. But anyway, one of the things when the Mark 1, I don't know if any of you's followed this a long time. The Mark 1 had a mode where you could sit it this way, upright, and there's even an adapter to allow you to sit it that way so you can get vertical seams. And the vertical seam thing to me was the cubes are great. If your sync goes out and you do have the odd problem with syncing and stitching, you tend to cut angles off of people's heads, which is kind of funny at times. I mean, there was a video of me dancing and they chopped the side of me off. It looked crazy. But I'd done some tests with some vertical stitching, so that the vertical lines between the cameras, and of course it was a bit touch and go with this. They weren't really close enough together. However, so I really wanted to make this one, and there is great things about this, and there's a couple of things you need to be totally aware of before you do anything else. But so let's get into explaining about this. So basically, this is the Brahma7, which means 7 cameras. Okay, now the reason for 7 cameras is set 5 around horizontal, 2 on the top, none underneath. Now, what this means is your tripod sits underneath it, obviously, and normally you'd get a little bit of the tripod there anyway. But with this, you get a great big hole. Okay, you get a big nadir. Now, there are, just so we know, right, if I get this camera here, what I want to do is I'm going to show you how we put these on, and I'm going to go through the pitfalls and the good things. So let's put one of these on. Here's the screw. So basically, you get one of your Brahma, one of your little Xiaomi's. I love the Xiaomi's, and just because I'm off experimenting with another camera for the Duo does not mean I'm moving away from the Xiaomi's, because they are fantastic. Right. So let me switch over so we can see on the closer camera. Right, let me pick this up here. Sorry, let me just set this up a bit better, shouldn't I? Right, that's better. Okay, so here's the 7. Now if you look at the side, you'll notice that the camera, let me just, that's hang on, really need a stand for that, don't I? It's the cable that does it. Right, the camera, as you can see, it's twisted at an angle, okay, and that's for good reason. So you've got 5 cameras around, and they're kind of bent downwards. The top 2 cameras see a huge great amount over the top, so you can afford to tip these down. Now, by tipping them down, it gives you a smaller nadir at the bottom, okay, which is good. But you'll notice if you look at this here, can you see this little thing here? That stops it going forward, so locates it. But there's also a lug at the back. Let me see if you can see that just here. Now, if I push that, can you just about? If I push this, it pops up, and it pretty much goes vertical, proper vertical. Now you probably can't tell from this, but it is actually sitting pretty much vertical, and that's there to locate it. But you can do it like that if you want to. I personally think push it down like that, okay, and then put all the cameras all the way around the rig, okay, and then you have your top 2. So let me just screw these in quickly. Okay, this is always the bit where if you want to go and make a cup of tea while I'm doing this, feel free. I like to film these live because for one thing, I haven't got time for editing. I don't have an awful lot of spare time these days. So it's just easier for me if I just do these all in one, you know. So just whistle amongst yourselves, because this is going to take. Now I'm not. You'll notice I'm not actually putting the cables in here, but the cables will fit. That's the whole point of these holes at the bottom and everything. The cables you probably saw in the picture, but the cables will fit. Also, same screws as the 6, but with a washer, because the thickness of the support is slightly thinner, so it needs to have a washer. Otherwise it will just flop about in there like an idiot. So we'll keep going around with these. Again, I'm not putting the cables on this because I haven't really got time. Okay, so there's all the cameras around, and now it leaves our 2 on top. Now you'll notice this. It's just a holder basically. So you grab your camera, ignore the fact it's got no cover. This is one I've been using for my the Duo, which I still like. Anyway, put that in and see how that just slides into there, and that locates it. And then we go underneath, and then we screw that in there. Now, remember I said all of these cameras come with a cable, one of these cables. So one of the problems with the first release was, oh, you can't actually see it from here, but the cable underneath, it was hitting this bar, which was useless. But now I fixed that. That's one of the things I had to fix. Also, they were rotating a little bit, so I've got a little flat base here, so it locates the camera neatly, and it just sits in there nicely. So let's get these all the way around. Again, on the site there will be a little parts list, everything you need, where you get it from. And I will say now, we are about to start building and shipping complete systems to people, okay? So bear that in mind. The one thing I haven't done, which is kind of silly, can you see this underneath? Now, for mounting it onto stands, in fact, let me take one of these cameras out. Didn't think about this too well, did I? Right. Again, all parts are going to be listed. One of these bolts, okay, through the middle hole. Okay, through the middle hole, and it pops out the bottom, and you get these studs. You can see the hole in the middle, okay, and you screw that on there. This is from Tony. Thanks, Tony. You get these from Amazon, okay, and now that mounts perfectly. If I grab my mount for my camera, this is the thing that goes onto my camera stand, okay, and it's got a screw on the base. So all I now do is turn that. Oh, yeah, I better put that. See, I just screw that, put the screw into the bottom, and do it up. There you go. One camera ready to go, except I've taken a camera out. So if I spin this round, pop this back in. Okay, screw that back in. Remember, I like them angled. There you have it. One complete rig, all ready to go. I haven't got cables in it again, but the cables fit beautifully. They literally just go in there. You just pop them into the cameras. It's brilliant. I will at some point probably do a battery pack for these. I've got these great big battery packs, which will be nicely hidden underneath here. But I'm going to look into that at a later stage. So that's how you build it, and it's not complicated. The great thing about, let me go back to, the great thing about this one is, let's move this out over there. With the 5 cameras, you get an increased resolution. So what it means is we're able, now first thing, always don't use 16:9 resolutions, okay? I thought, funny enough, it might work actually, but it's still not quite enough stitching. You must change the settings for all the cameras so they've all got the same frame rate, okay? They're all in either all NTSC or all PAL, so get that right, the frame rate, 50 or 60 frames a second. Set them all to 1280 by 960. It's really important you do that. And also it's a good idea to switch on Wi-Fi, so if you want to use the app from John, then they'll all connect up. Now I'm going to do a separate tutorial on the whole business with the app, But basically, I've done that before, so it's not really much to go through. But basically, you connect it to the mobile phone, and it will turn on all the cameras, and it'll set the recording off, take pictures, and all that kind of thing. Right, and he's in the process of adding another camera because at the moment only has 6, this is 7. So now we've got seven cameras here. Now, it again, I stress, it has got a nadir in the base, and that's easily got out of. Okay, but people say, well, can't you make an 8? You know, can you do another one? Say, well, if you want a 360, we've got the rig for that. This is spot on. People are doing great results with this. Okay, so if you want a full 360 right round, now the thing about the nadir is, if you can accept it, I'll give you an example. Jaunt, okay, $15,000 to you with a man with a hat. It's got more cameras, and you know it's a kind of cool system, okay. But the idea that has straight stitches, okay, which I like the idea. They use about 8-10 cameras. They use a lot more cameras, so they've got a lot more data they can play with. But 4K is the route at the moment. Most systems can't play above 4K, so we're still working on the 4K route. This will do up to 60 frames a second. So will this do up to 60 frames a second? But the great thing with this is, whereas this it'll do over 4K, it's about 15% over 4K, but we all then cut it back to 4K. The great thing about this is, with this, we have to put a patch in, a 1600 by 12 patch, and that makes that capable of doing 4K. With this, standard 1280, 960, nothing else, just out the box, right? Once it's set up, and it does, literally, it's about a pixel either above or below 4K, so depending on how it's stitching. But it'll pretty much do 4K at up to 60 frames a second. I recommend still go 30 frames a second because most players can't play 60 frames a second. But it will do 60 frames a second if you want it. And it'll also if you increase these cameras to 1600 by 1200 resolution, you're getting up to about 5K. Right? So this is a very, very good rig. But I see this more of a studio kind of setup, okay? So you'd have your nadir at the base, and you could have like so if anyone looks down, they can see, for example, the advert, like TV channel, or the channel that's doing it, and the name of the program, etc., etc. So you can have some information about it at the base where people have to look down, because that's as long as you're happy. Now, if you want to get rid of that, and this is going somewhere, get a camera, grab your spare even Xiaomi Yi. Okay, go and grab a spare Xiaomi Yi, or use one of these, and just take a picture of the floor that the camera is going to sit on, and then cut and paste that, patch it. I'm going to show you in a second how you patch this stuff together, and then how to patch the base and make a nice attractive base. Right, so that's the setup of the camera, which, to be honest, I mean, it's not difficult, is it? I will include the parts in the video, and I'll do it on the site. It's available now on the site. You can order it now. It's a fraction cheaper than Brahma 6. Not much. I mean, I just keep it under, just slightly under the £100, but it cost a little bit less to make, so I've knocked a little bit off. I mean, it's just the way it works. So that's now ready. But let me just show you some. Let's go over to here now. Obviously, we'll say, if you can go in and like my site if you haven't already, I'd greatly appreciate that. Here's the software. So it's VR Experience on Facebook. Just search for that. And at the top, you'll see John's application. Okay, you can click on that, take it to the site. And the software is not at the moment doing 7 cameras. He's about to do it, so it won't be far off. Maybe send him a message, chase him up. But he's promised me he's going to do that. I've sent him a little bribe. So fingers crossed that'll come along nice and soon. He'll probably say the bribe wasn't good enough. That was a prototype. Yeah, well, there you go. So you can see the site in here. Quite a few people have seen it already, which is quite good. Now, so if we go to the Shapeways site, excuse me, this is my site, and you can see here's all the other rigs. These duos are still great, but I did mention I'm doing a 4K version, which is taking longer, and it's actually going to be a tortuous road to it. I'm very open with people. It's using these cameras, just so you can see. I'll even tell you the camera. It's a GitUp Git 2, the Git 2. I don't know why it's called a GIT2, but anyway, it's a great camera. Put the lenses on, fantastic. Doesn't do 4K. The mode is supposed to be 2880 by 2160, right? And some idiot put a 16:9 resolution, squished it into that. So for some reason it's buggered. So nothing I can do with it. So I can't use 4K at the moment. And they're looking into it to see if they can upgrade the software. All of them I think are going to be the similar thing. So at the moment the Duo is probably the best one. Now the good thing about this is, if you was to buy a Brahma Duo, you would be buying the lenses if you wanted to upgrade. So these cameras aren't going to be overly expensive, not much more than the cost of the standard Xiaomi. So you can keep your Xiaomi cameras and use it in another rig. So take one and put it in the 7 like I did. It would be a separate case because it's obviously different holder. Although actually, to be fair, I put an elastic band with these into the case, the Brahma Duo case. It works beautifully. So that's not good. So all you'd have to do is buy 2 new cameras eventually. So if you buy one, don't think you're losing out. Now, you only get an improvement in your video. One thing that I'm going to have to do a video on this at some point, but is the time lapse, 4,500 by 3,500 images, which makes an incredible animated videos. I mean, I think you can get up to 6K with these animated time lapses. So I'm going to do some experimentation with that. It's just time, just get round it. But there's an awful lot to be said for that, and that is exactly the same if you buy the Xiaomi version. If you want 4K now, there you go. Brahma 6 works perfectly. Everyone's getting some great results. Okay, if you want to experiment, the Duo is great. It's brilliant for Facebook. It's brilliant for YouTube videos. It's just when you want to put the headset on, it's the only thing about it. So if you're not bothered about a headset, then it's fine. It's as good as the Theta, if not better. I mean, it's a higher horizontal resolution than the Theta with the Brahma Duos. With the Xiaomi, sorry, and it's twice the frame rate. So actually, it's better than the Theta, I think. Not as complete. The Theta's a great little product. You know, you go out with it, hold it out, click, and it's stitched. So it can't compete with that, and you still need software. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. So, right, so you've built your rig, you got your rig set up. You want to go and record some stuff. So you go out, you do the usual recording. For those who don't know, I'm sure you do, but you turn them all on. Now, this is just manually, okay? Beep, 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 beep. And these are all now turned on. Now, if you had the app, you can control the cameras and the recording, but now all I do is I would do the turn them all on manually, go around, which is a bit of a pain. That's why we did the app. Right, so they're all there, they're all recording. Then you do this. I'm going to do it over here. Do a clap, right? And then you can do the sync in the software that syncs all the videos up. So that's that. Now, once you've done that, you'll then end up. Let me just turn all these off. Then you'll end up with a whole load of video files, which you can bring to your computer. Okay, let me just turn these on. Right. Okay, go to sleep. Put that there. Right. Okay. Now, if I click over to here, now this is Auto Pano video, okay, and you'll see I've already preloaded and I've already done the job, okay. But what you do is you do a new project, and you literally just drop those 7 video files onto the screen, and it loads them all in like this, okay. They're all like that. Then there's a synchro button. Where you do your clap. So if you play one of these, let's turn that one on.
Still brilliant if you're
right. It's nowhere around there. So you wait for the clap, and then you note the seconds, okay, and then you set in here. Say it was at 6 seconds. Press 6, and use audio sync. I'm not going to do this because I've already done it. Use audio to synchronize, and it will synchronize to the clap. Some people do the twist as well, and you can do the motion. Okay, that's another way of doing it. Now this video's not really got time to go into all the details. Then press on stitch. Now ignore the Intonaya 250. If you've got a Duo, I use a 250. Even though it's a 220 lens, I get a better result with that for some reason. Anyway, go away from there. So we want the Hero 3.4. Select Hero 3.4. Press stitch. Okay, it does the stitch, and then what you end up with is let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so you get this. Now you'll notice at the bottom I've got a patch. Okay, I'm going to show you how I did that. So what you would do is you've got it stitched up. Now there's a big hole, big black hole, right? So you press edit. Okay, I'm not going to do it. Press edit, go to here, and then it will open up this program. Oh, hang on. So you probably disappeared there. It'll open up this, and then you double click on the picture. Okay, which then brings you to this screen. Okay, now this is the important one. This is called Giga, and Giga's the crux of the system. Okay, it's the thing that does all the clever stuff and the actual scrolling together. Now you notice I've already got this patched in. If you look at the bottom, you'll see there's two menus down the bottom. If I open that one up, here's all my videos. Okay, so if I tick these boxes, okay, do you see how they're all turning off? Yeah, it's automatically set these up, right? Now I've got to be careful what I do, because obviously it's GPU based. I'm using GPU. Oh, you can see it's okay there. Right. God, that's being silly now, isn't it? Right. Okay. Right, I tell you, I'm just going to stop this. Okay, so sorry for the glitch there. I might have to restart some bits and pieces because, well, I will say that it's a fantastic piece of software, AutoPano, but it's not exactly bug free. But there you go. Right, so it doesn't play fairly with other GPU-based systems. But there you go. Right, so where was we? Yes, so I've got this in, and you'll notice if I turn, let me just turn off this patch. So basically what you end up, when you've loaded it in, there's this at the bottom. You see this great big hole at the bottom. Okay, so in fact, if I just remove this, remove image. Okay, so I create a new, in fact, let's just do this all the way through. Remove layer. Okay, I've got these in here. I'm not gonna play because last time I did this, it started messing around. These are the videos, okay, that make up this display. Okay, I don't want to play with that. I'm going to add a layer. So what we do is we get the layer, and I rename the layer, and I call it patch. Okay, now I need to add an image. So the reason for doing that is so it's a separate transparency layer. Okay, so add another image, and we've already got one of these that was kindly done by Tony. So you can see now it's put it in there. If I open this up, now what I can do now is, first of all, what I'll do is let me just show you how you move the images around. Okay, so click up on this button at the top here. Okay, now at the moment it's set to pano, so if I move the pano around, okay, what we'll do is we turn that off. Now if I turn that off, can you see that we've got this right smack in the middle is the hole? That's the nadir. That's the bit the cameras can't see. Okay, you can see everything else above, below, around, not below. Can't see that, so that's where we're patching it now. If I'd taken a photo of that piece of the carpet, cut and paste that as an image and paste it in, but I didn't do that. I loaded this Brahma image here. Okay, turn that on now, and then if I click on it and I want to move, so I select this here to move, and you see the one that's highlighted, so I bring this in here. Now it's also a little bit on the big side. So we want to scale this down with the scale tool and scale that down so it just about covers that hole. Let me just tweak this about so it covers that hole. Okay, now remember what I was saying, if I'd taken a photo of the carpet, I'd be patching it with a picture of the carpet, because normally your action's not under the camera, is it? It's everywhere else. So it's actually, you know, people say, oh, but no, it's great, it's still very good. Vertical seams are nice and tidy. So I've done that. What I want to do now is click on this icon here at the top, and then I get my relay it out again. Now the secret to this is actually, if the base is straight, pretty much straight, you know you've pretty much got this worked out. Okay, so I've got that there like that. That's done, and then all I do now is I save. Okay, and I close that down. And I close this one down as well. You might want to save it now, didn't it? Now, obviously, I already had this in here. So now you can see I've got this in here. And it's got the patching. Okay. And then it's just a case of rendering it. So let's say I'm happy I've set it from 1 minute to 5 minutes to 4 minutes. I've already rendered this. It's actually up on the site. And annoyingly, the video I recorded, I missed the end off. Made a bit of a mess of it, but it shows you how good it is. Now, click on render. Okay. Oh, before I do that, if you get some, if you're outside and you're getting the colour, you know, like with sunlight, you know, the autofocus, all this kind of sort of auto colour white balance and stuff messes up the colour. So that blue over there is different to that blue over there. This tool is fantastic colour. Just turn it on. You can play around with it to heart's content, but if you just press apply, it's corrects. Does a pretty good job of correcting everything. I really like that. It's got me out of a hole quite a few times. Anyway, so now let's go to render. Now I've actually already set this, but I will tell you this, and you have to take my word on it. It was actually 1919 by 3838, and I just pushed it up by 1 pixel. Now sometimes it's slightly above, sometimes it's slightly below. That's at 1280 by 960, which is a standard resolution. If you use the patch, it goes right through the roof. Okay, you run the patch, you get 1620 by 1200. This would be up to around 4800 by about 2400, something like that. Massive increase, about 20-25% increase in resolution. So that's really quite useful. And also you then do it, say 4024, I think it is, by 2000 and whatever. Oh God, I forgot what it is now. 2024, something like that anyway. Which is a proper 4K, and it just gives that a little bit of resolution, and everyone can play it. Okay, which is quite nice. Most people tend to set this 3840 by 1920. Now I also cut down the frames again to 30 from 60. Okay, you must set your UHD TV because it won't do anything over 1920 1080, and that's basically it. Now I've already rendered this, but so then you just press render. So that's all there is to it, and then you've got your video. Now once you've got your video, I could actually show you. Let me close this down. Let's see if the YouTube one's actually online already. I was actually uploading it earlier, but let's just see if it's done. Oh, look at this. Here we go. Here's one I did earlier.
Okay, right. So this is a Brahma 7.
Now it's 4K. Let me just go over there.
It's finished. You're actually watching this.
So you can download. You can have a look at this and see what it's like. But you see, scroll round.
Do that way. You'll see the duo with the prototype.
Oh, there's the duo.
Which are not full.
I did the video on that. I hadn't focused the front, so I'm out of focus, but the back's fine. So kind of annoying. And this is funny. Look, click. But I find you have to press it one, and then press it again. Weird. Anyway, it's not being released yet, but it is very good.
There you go.
So there you go. So that's working quite nicely. I can't show you the headset. No, shut up, boring me. So nice results you're getting with this. The stitching. Did I actually show you this?
So that's going to be recorded.
Did I show a little bit of stitching?
There you go.
Watch. See, can you see that line? Yeah, it's not bad. And that's only because I've got the sync out. But you get a nice straight scene, which is what I like with this. Oh, if you scroll down, there's that patch. Yeah, I've actually got upside down like an idiot. But anyway, but there you can see there's the patch that's in the paste. Now it's quite good. You know, you like news at 10 on the hour, Steve Jones reporting, whatever. But you've got this nice patch there, or just drop in a picture of that bit of carpet. No one to know. None's the wiser. Okay, be just as good. And I personally, I see this one being really good for studio setups. I do think it'd be quite good for studios. So because you haven't got that angles business. So anyway, I think I've covered everything. What have I missed? Oh, I suppose the other thing you need to do is you need to get yourself. I would recommend. Okay, let's get that right. I would recommend you get yourself one of these. I'll put the link on it again, and this is really handy. It's got 7, right, for charging your cameras up. Now, also, if you hang this underneath, say you hang it like that with the cables going up, you can hide it in the. It won't be seen below the nadir. Yeah, so if you pop that on there, no, the cameras ain't going to see it, so you can power it. Or, and again, I've like an idiot. we also have. I actually built. If you look on my site, I've also got these battery packs, little battery packs, which are brilliant. And I'm going to build. And there's another power bank. Now this is a 50,000 milliamp hours with 3 sockets in it. So I'm thinking of either doing 3 of them and underneath it, but I don't know what's happening with it. But at the moment, you use electricity because if you're doing it in a studio setting, you're fine. Hopefully that covers everything. I actually think this is my favourite. Okay, the Brahma 6 is brilliant and it's sold a lot, but I actually quite like this one, and I don't mind an Adir at the base. I think it's got benefit in there, but other people have different views. This is why we have different versions. So hopefully I've covered 2 or 3 areas which are going to be quite good for people, and hopefully you like that. And the link to the order page is on here. As I said, it's about £95. You need 7 cameras. Whole thing's going to come to about probably £400 for a complete system, ready to go. And as you can see, the video quality is not too bad. I was understate, but I think the video quality is brilliant personally. But yeah,
if you want to do 360,
yeah.
full 360,
So you got a choice.
Yeah, this is still the kiddie. Okay, it's very clear.
Yes, this is still the kiddie. It's one selling, but this is in certain cases when you understand it. This is a great rig. All right, shut him up. One more time, I will thank everybody who's purchased it. It's allowed me to play, and even to the point I've actually got. And this is just, and if there's any Amiga people out there, this is just for you. Models. So it's been a bit slow, isn't it? So I've got this one which I'm really pleased with. And this is just literally being tested at the moment. Now there's all kinds of problems as far as the name of the the Amiga, but this one's called the Amiga 3.1415926. Can you figure out what that one's for? It's obviously for putting a Raspberry Pi in, and it's an old Amiga 3000, and it's there's, just have a bit of fun with that. But I'm loving this 3D stuff. One of the other models. Let me show you the other model that's not available yet. This is another Brahma Duo. It's very basic. It's a that's actually not a very good example. Actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. That doesn't really show it too well. Let me load this up. You might disappear for a second. Start using SketchUp. That's it. Now what I'll do is I'll just show you the other case. This is for the Brahma Duo, the one I just showed you earlier, the new one. If I release it, it's no point releasing it unless it goes full 2K. I mean, it really isn't worth it. But this is the model as it stands now. Bearing in mind, this is just a chassis to hold it. It's not. You can see there's no screw fixings and so on. So this is an experiment, but that's what I'm working on at the moment. That's already given better results. In fact, you can't really tell with this. It is giving about 25% more pixels than the Xiaomi based one, but it's still not 4K at the moment. But anyway, go and buy that. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much.